Hi guys,
Hello.
hi everyone who's viewing. I hope you're actually viewing. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, wherever you're talking us from, we are so happy you're part of us. Welcome to our second live
Yes.
show. This is a live show. Mm-hmm. And the topic today we're going to talk about is the surcharging. When we say surcharge, we don't mean those stars of England, the ones that stars in the Paris.
Like a star
Surcharge.
and the
You
charge.
know, like not sir and charge. No. We are talking about we are talking about that other extra charge that you find the merchant
Mm,
charging you when you're using your Visa card, and you ensure that you should keep it, clear your bill, and you walk away without paying an extra charge. And today in
absolutely.
the show, we have even other guests, but my counterpart, hmm, my soldier in the army, the one who's going to help me be in the driving seat as we drive this show, is none other than the beautiful, fresh mama. Tumusime Flavia Kavura. How are you, darling?
Hello, baby.
It is stop. I like it.
Welcome, welcome. I see you're looking good. And is that turquoise?
We decided that let's pick the colors that we have in front of us. Stop putting me under pressure.
Absolutely.
This is just right blue. This is darker blue. This one, then there is pink and yellow. Let's focus. Please.
Absolutely. How are you?
I'm okay, Mukazi. I'm alright. I'm fine.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to get used to the whole not seeing you in person that we now do it like this.
I'm beginning to enjoy it too. Yeah, I am really. I'm enjoying it because I
Not
can
seeing me
pretend
in
to
person.
yes, you know when you see someone
Wow.
in person, you see the lip twitching when they are lying that they're happy to see you. Then you get uncomfortable and start asking them very. You put them under pressure generally by just keeping
It's
lying. So
okay.
it's better
It's
yeah,
okay.
when you have an audience.
I know that I'm actually at work at NTV, and I know we are actually live on the Facebook page. And so, wherever you're watching us from, yes, today is a big discussion. Just like last week, you have a Visa card and you are thinking of the many ways to use it. Some of you have used it, and one of the things that we say is Asusa Visa because there's supposed to be no extra charge.
Sure.
And so, like Anne said, that surcharge, that extra charge that you some of you
They
have
call it
said, to be honest, the surcharge, yes, that you have experienced. We're going to be discussing and getting into that today. But I thought we would first sort of share our experiences because yesterday I did my hair. Does it show?
See, the thing is, Flavia, you have nice hair, and even can risk
Thank
and
you.
show you as in public on a live show. You risk judgment. Some of us, ours is hidden in head wraps. A lot of skills. We have to run quick hair, makes us look a little taller. Generally, we
Yeah.
suffer to cover up our real hair. So, madam, your hair looks
Oh,
nice even
dear.
when you've just woken up. This Takabura
Thank
can always
you.
testify. Mm.
Wow. Anyway, I wanted
No, my hair
to
looks
share with you my experience of how I actually
mm.
found convenience at using my Visa card, but I thought we'd just get into the start and actually open the show. Now, the real opening of the real show.
Let's open. Please continue opening.
Yes.
Let it open well.
Yay! Welcome, welcome, welcome. And like I was sharing that yesterday I actually went to do my hair, and I've done my hair in the same place for about a year now. And I'd never
Mm.
realized that they actually accept Visa. And so I think we just need to know and tell people that when you walk into any premises, whether it's a restaurant, a salon, or shopping mall, look either at the counter or at the entrance, should be on the door most cases. Some people also put it, I would say, near the window, but it depends how big the window is. But depending on where you are, even on the tables for restaurants, they say Visa accepted, or we accept Visa, and that's the sure way. But also, if you are a business, please be very clear. You don't want customers coming in and they don't know if they can actually have the ease of actually using the Visa. So the only issue, the downside, is that I ended up buying more things than I was supposed to buy. Hair products, like in a word, but I was happy with the ease.
Because of the card, you just started swiping and dipping anyhow. Well, let me tell you, something happened. Someone was telling me that Batubuse, like they finally realized how we feel like we have money even when we don't have. So we had gone to Acacia with one of our friends, and they wanted to buy something from Mr. Price, but they opted to go and buy it in Woolworth because things are a little bit pricey, and there's a comparison between the two stores. Like, so they ended up going to Woolworth to buy a hanky, following Shiba Karunji to go and also shop in the same store and swipe. Now, those are some of the advantages with using Visa. When you're using a Visa card, no one knows. Over you've entered a supermarket and bought a deodorant and stepped out, and another one has entered and bought how many things. All of you just swipe once. It's not like an ATM where you hear or when there are so many people picking money, and then you've picked less and the other person has picked more. So using Visa has helped me. I feel like it can improve your class. You enter a place, you swipe. Over the other one has spent a lot, over has spent it, it does not matter. All of you look like you have
Yeah.
made it,
You're right. Actually, there's a friend of mine I won't mention because he is trying to be a politician, who went to a restaurant and said, "Just one cup of coffee. I would like to swipe." They said, "Just a cup of coffee." He said, "Please. It's my money,
You can
my
swipe.
taste buds. I want just
You're
one
not,
cup of coffee and I want to
you're not any
swipe."
problems with Instacard. That's true.
Yes, yes, yes. We're not alone actually. Maybe this is the right time to actually introduce our wonderful guest. But just remind you
Yes.
that using your Visa card, or as we say, Sasusa Visa, you explore the convenience of fast and safe payments. If you also want to share with
Mm-hmm.
us, you can go to the Visa Facebook page and share with us how you're using your card. Because there's also, through those comments, some of you might realize, oh, wait, I've not been using my Visa card for that. Did not know. Only thought it was
I
fuel.
don't even
Kumbe.
know that they have Visa cards.
No.
Hey, auntie, someone was telling me, so Visa card, where do I get a Visa card? I'm like, no, what do I do with this one? I'm like, do you have an ATM card? They're like, yeah. Does it have like a word Visa somewhere there? Yeah. You have a Visa card. They're like, are you kidding me? I'm like, I'm not kidding you. It's the truth.
Yeah,
Eh,
and the word is
I thought
actually
that.
that we're at NTV, so you've got everyone from the team trying to come through. But your the word visa is actually quite bold. Like you can't miss it on your card. That's what I like about it. It's not like a hidden word that you've got to look for. It's actually quite bold.
And most banks are really embracing this whole, cashless using a Visa card thing. So really, most of the people who have ATM cards should know that they have a Visa card and they can actually swipe
But in
to
case
make
they
payments.
don't know, forgive them. Um, don't you like the new normal? And people just walk in and out of
Right.
our
You
live
end up
shows.
meeting people. So,
But I'm sure he has a Visa card. We'll forgive him for that. We'd like to
mm-hmm.
welcome our guest because today's conversation can't be just Anne Kansiman. Either a few questions you've given to us in the DM. Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
nice to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you have actually put them in the comments and said, Flavia, Anne, let's be honest, I've been to some places and is that surcharge. So can you talk about it? And we thought we'd bring in the experts to have that conversation. So let's bring in our guest. First of all, we'll be joined by Patricia Amito, who is the head of communications and corporate affairs at UBA. Hello, Patricia.
Hi, Flavia. Hi, Anne. And hi, everyone who's watching us this evening. Happy to be here.
Hey,
Oh,
you look
that's
happy to
great.
be here. I beat you.
She
Yeah.
does. And we have Arnold Questiga, who's head of card acquiring.
Hi, Flavia. Hi, Anne. I'm glad to be here.
Hmm? Nice to meet you.
Bueno, really. Anyway, I do have Kennedy Luombo, who's the senior business development leader, merchandising and sales acquiring at Visa. Kennedy, I saw you laughing. Kennedy and Anna, I think, have inside jokes.
For us.
Hi, everyone. I was just quite taken aback by the fact that the camera kind of gave Arnold a few seconds extra. Hope that I'll be given the same opportunity. Happy to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
So you got the opportunity. They gave you your
You got them. I'm loving
That was
this.
paid for. That was paid.
This is the Visa live show, okay? And the last week when we were chatting to everybody, we were just saying our experiences with using the Visa card or going cashless, okay? And not the cashless people have been thinking that it means, what does it mean, Anne? That you are now the rich of the richer? Do we have you, Anne?
And
Okay, well,
During end time, I know during end times when
okay.
Jesus and everyone is coming back, that we
Oh, we're having a bit of trouble there with Anne. I think those are the enemies of progress you were just
will
discussing
be
who don't want you to
cashless.
strive
We
with
won't
your
be
Visa
touching
card.
money. It's like, so and what's it?
Okay. Maybe this is the right time. Anne will be joining us back in a few. She actually still is with us. But as you know, the new normal, everything happens online and you can't rule out anything happening. But our guests are going to be answering some of those questions you have posed. What is a surcharge in the first place? So let's say I've gone to a place and there's a POS machine, great, I get to use my Visa card, but there's that bit of, money here, extra money here. What do I do? Why does this happen? And all sorts of things. But yes, when Anne does come back, she'll join us in the conversation. Perhaps to now start with Patricia. Actually, I thought I'd get an experience from each of you, Patricia, Arnold, and Kennedy, on using Visa cards. I know Anne is back with us, but Patricia, the ease and convenience of going cashless. What do you think?
I think it's a good feeling. Thank you for that question, Flavia. And I'm one of those who, for a long time, have not using Visa or the bank card to make any payment. I recently, as recently as the lockdown, um, that's when I decided, let me try this out and see that and see what happens thereafter. And I must say, feeling you you go and purchase, for example, groceries in a supermarket, or you go to have lunch with some friends, and then as opposed to count each and every note that you have to pay a bill of say 200,000, you just ask the person on the other side, have a point of sale machine. Can I pay by card? Saying sure, and then out your card, you make the payment, you get a receipt. It's very fast, it's quick, it's convenient. And I must say, I have not looked back. I am strongly and permanently there with my.
Okay, thank you so much, Patricia. I'm not sure if Arnold, you embraced the idea of Visa and cashless way before lockdown. What's your experience?
I mean, absolutely. This is why we're here. Visa. The story. My story was I forgot to carry my card. And, luckily, unlike any other restaurant at Cafe Java, that's breakfast is standard 25. I had 25 in my wallet, and I thought I had my card, so I'd be able. And I went ahead and asked for some extras. So I came and the card was not with me, and I only had 25K. I had to speak to the manager, try to wiggle out of it, and try to explain to him I didn't Visa user, and I just had, can I come back? So I had business. It was one of the most embarrassing moments, but as
Oh,
Patricia said, nothing as good as knowing that you can, and the only limitation is your bank balance.
So I'm so glad. Yeah, I'm so glad. Just for there was a bit of a challenge there for the entire connection, but he is that chap who goes to order for food, then asks for extras without counting his money.
And start
But
explaining that
yes, but glad Arnold's Visa card actually helped him out. And you were saying?
no, I'm saying it must have been hard because if he was trying to explain himself to like a female manager, you might be mistaken for an interested partner when you're trying to negotiate like, the dishes. I can take you out later, please, please.
But I'm imagining the bargaining over like extra plantain
That
or
was
extra avocado.
Meanwhile,
that
he
was going
might
to be
have
the
brought
last resort.
the order after eating, even had things to say before he had checked the money he had in his pocket. Excuse me, this food is not even sweet, change it. And then afterwards, bill time, you start looking for pockets where there are
You
no.
start looking.
Sorry.
All right, so we're getting right into it. Perhaps I don't know if this is the right person to ask, starting with, because Kennedy would have asked your experience of Visa, but really, that's like asking
Yeah.
the farmer his experience of using a hoe, right? So, what? Sorry, what is surcharging? We'll start off with you, Kennedy, to explain this to us.
Actually, I would say actually, I have had my own experiences using Visa card or not using one because initially, just like a majority of people, it was not necessarily my first primary tool of transacting. But then when I got to understand the benefits of using your Visa card, I really got sold into it. So first and foremost, using your Visa card, you don't get to be charged anything, and that's one of the reasons why we need to have this conversation, because I think it's very important that customers get to know that the business model of using your Visa card is that you as a customer do not get to be charged. So anyone who levies a fee because you've chosen to use your card to make a payment, then there's a friend of mine who told me it almost feels like you're being punished for being a customer of that particular retail outlet where you're buying things, right? So it's almost like it's a penalty, and that's what we're talking about. The surcharge is actually what the merchant, or in our case, in simple terms, the business where you're buying goods or services, that owner decides to add, say, a 5% or an extra 5,000 Uganda shillings on top of what you are buying, on top of the price of the goods that you were buying. So in a nutshell, that is what we mean when we say surcharge, and that is one of the one of the reasons why most customers maybe to this day they're still choosing to use maybe cash to make their payment, because with cash you only get to pay whatever the amount was.
But, sorry, maybe to add you another fire you another question. You who said so much about it, Kennedy, as if you are good at this such a thing. Why does someone have to charge surcharge when I've paid their bill for the meal? Like, what are they trying to? Why do people charge this surcharge? Why do they charge me when I'm supposed to just swipe for free?
Good question. So there are various reasons why a business will decide, or maybe an employee in a business will decide to add a fee to your purchase amount. I think the most common, whenever I speak to businesses, because I'm responsible at Visa for taking care of business relationships. I think the most common reason is because businesses do not yet understand the benefits of using or of accepting card payments. And so the business model is such that, yes, the customer does not pay a fee, but for the business, there is a fee, and that fee is basically what a business would pay in exchange for the benefits that they receive. I can mention a couple of reasons why I think it's very important for any business to be accepting this form of payment. One of them, I think, was what Flavia mentioned at the beginning, that when you go to an outlet and you are planning to, say, just spend 200,000 Uganda shillings, you end up spending 300 or 400,000 Uganda shillings. Why? Because you have direct access to your funds in your account, and maybe you came across a deal that particular retailer where you're buying your goods is doing a promotion. Now, if you had only cash, then you don't get an opportunity to actually take advantage of that deal. Who loses, right? I think, in my view, the retailer is the one who loses most, because that's a sale he could have made or she could have made, right? So that the opportunity to upsell to someone whose limit of spending is only their bank account balance. And then, of course, as well, the customer experience and the convenience that we provide to customers is very important to talk about, because sometimes you will attract someone who probably only has their card. They don't have cash, but they have their card. It doesn't mean that they don't have money, but you will have to decline that sale because you don't have means to receive those funds. Who loses? In my view, I think it's the business that has lost in that case.
Right. Perhaps to now talk to Arnold, your head of acquiring, card acquiring, that is at ABSA. And I'm thinking the card is supposed to be power to your client or customer, and they're supposed to use it because convenience and different ways. Do you think this is one of the things that would be a barrier for your client to then have all the power with their card?
100%. In my introductory remarks, I think I said something along the lines of as in having the only limitation to your spend should be your bank balance. So as my colleague Kennedy has just highlighted, you had a saloon appointment, I believe. I'm not quite sure what you did, but I believe that's wet look. So if you had just, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if you had just and allow me please, if you had just the amount of money to pay for that, you would the saloon will the extra products that came with it. You see, so ultimately, as to use their bank balance to purchase. I'll give you another scenario. We have seen a growth from 2007 to 24% people that are using. Post-COVID, from January to June, the trend has changed. So in as much as people are confined to their homes, the spend has now moved to the online channels, but people are still willing to spend. So there is about 68% of people transacting now online. And that should show you that the spend ability is there. It's just that, with things like surcharge, obviously it's limiting people from using their cards. And yeah, Kennedy hit the ball right out of the park. It's a detriment to not only the business, but also us, the people that want to spend.
Okay.
Then, sorry, there's something I wanted to ask. Then why does it happen? If it's something that to be discouraged, why are some businesses actually adding it on? Why do merchants actually say, okay, we are adding? What do you think actually prompts a shopkeeper to decide that I'm using a card? Why do they do it? There must be a reason why they do that. Or maybe I'll ask Patricia.
I don't think it's more. I can take it.
Yes,
Patricia
please.
could just maybe add
Mhm.
to it. So
But please,
ideally, what happens from the from the discussions that we've had with these merchants, it appears that they're using it as a cost tool. So, in their opinion, because obviously there's a minimal cost to processing the transaction, the merchant is going to say, you know what, rather than me taking on the whole costs, some merchants will say, all right, I'll split it half and half. So the cardholder will be charged 50 of that cost, and the merchant will take on 50. Some go for the full month. They'll say, I'll charge 100% of the cost. So they levy that cost on the cardholder. For others, they have the audacity to add a markup to um,
To the bill.
to the action. So you will of revenue, and they'll have charging as another stream, which I find flabbergasting, to say the least.
Yeah, Arnold, you're right. In saying that some people will actually put the extra on the bill, so you find the meal is slightly more expensive than it would elsewhere, or the price of an outfit would be more expensive just because they would like to put that cost there because they don't want to explain to the client. Patricia, let's come to you. At
Maybe
UBA,
could add,
um,
if
yes,
I could add to before you come in with the question, Fabia.
yes, please.
Looking at where we've come from. Look at the banking sector 2015 back. Discussions around card electronic payments was not a discussion that anybody was having. And clearly because look at how penetration was in terms of services, banks were more centered around the urban areas. There were not many account holders. There were not many merchants. If they were there, they were probably centered still in the urban areas. But this changed and continues to change. As from where we sit, we have about 16 million bank accounts, and that number is growing. We have about 7.6 million cards on the market that quite being utilized as we expect, but that's the journey we have started to take. And merchants are no longer spread just in the urban. You can, go up country, go to Port Porto, go to Gulu, and you're able to actually use your card as long as you have a point of sale machine that's located wherever you are, whether it's a hotel, a restaurant, you can actually do that, not just within Kampala, but out of the city as well.
Thank you so much, Patricia. I think I was thinking that in your experience, because I think you gave the best and say that you're one of the people who's moved to using your Visa card more now after not really after, we're still in the pandemic, with the new normal. You probably are seeing that same wave with your customers, as you've said. There's that change, that growth of customers going there. Have you anticipated and saying that now that this surcharge exists with some, depending on the course as we've discussed, have you anticipated that and figured a way to, one, maybe educate or inform your customers on understanding the use of their cards in this convenience?
Yeah, we have. All our UBA is an umbrella body. Is an umbrella body for commercial banks in Uganda, and making a decision where all the member banks are actually engaging customers, engaging merchants. The merchants are actually as of banks. So now going out to talk to the merchants, sensitize them about need for them not to search. The benefits that will come by just receiving bill payments or electronic payment card from the customers that they have, and the benefit to them. We don't want them. We've had news where there are businesses where someone is locking up late in the day, and then they're waylaid with so much money on them. If your customers are actually paid by card, this money would be seated in your account, and you just walk home with no hassle or worries of how to get this money tomorrow morning, maybe when the banks are open, now that the banks are closed. So all that inconvenience, all that fear, all that risk is the discussion that all the member banks, the commercial banks are having with the merchants, but also for the customer convenience. I will still refer to my story. I mean, before, of course, I had instances where you try to use a card and then in a restaurant, and then they tell you, Madam, there's a 3% surcharge on this. And you say, it's okay, let me use cash. Because you don't want to get into the additional cost. So now that we are having a discussion that this is illegal, you cannot have an additional cost added to a stated price because I've chosen to pay by card. We want to see more of that go up.
Me, teacher. First, wait, there's something you
Yes.
said that I don't want to forget. So what you are saying is actually illegal. It's time for me to actually
Yes,
be
it is.
reporting people who are charging me.
Yes,
Like,
it
what do I
is.
do? If I enter a supermarket, I have finished pushing my trolley of things, I put them in a cavera, and I'm sweating, going to pay, and they tell me they're going to charge me more. What do I do to this merchant who has taken that 3% that I didn't want to give them? Should I come and report it? Will get me balance? What? Because you're saying it's illegal. I want that person in cuffs. Do you know how much money is going in this COVID? Even 100 shillings can buy you a
Shillings.
buy you a full matchbox.
It is illegal, and we have encouraged customers, if you are at any point of machine and you've actually experienced a surcharge being put on a cost that you're paying for, encourage them, one, report this to your bank, the bank that you are you bank with, for using two words in the same sentence, the bank that you're with. But also, as UBA, if you go to our website, we have a complaints form where you can actually send these details of the location, who, where, and when this surcharge happened. So that actually directed to the respective bank or financial institutions for that matter. So we encourage people
Nice.
to actually be alert and just bring these issues up for us. Yeah.
You people, me, I'm going to
Well,
spend the whole of next week reporting people. You have just
Oh
encouraged me
dear.
to cook. Because I can think of very many places. And they have different charges. This time they have charged you 3,500,
that's
tomorrow they
true.
charge like they choose that today, what's the day today? The weather has changed. We are charging you
There's another
3,000.
me teacher.
You know how they decide.
Just to
Yes,
give
yes.
Kansime some more comfort, aside
Mm.
from what UBA is doing, obviously we're working with them. But aside from what they're doing, as ABSA Bank, what we've done is we've sent out emailers to cardholders and the merchants alike to let them know of this new directive and the results of not following through the directive. Post-mortem, what we've done is we have created a hotline, 0800 222 where people can actually call in and report. And it doesn't matter whether the merchant is an ABSA merchant or a merchant for another bank, because ultimately we are in this together as Visa apostles, and we are here as a united front to make sure that we stamp out what, in my opinion, is a vice. Aside from that, I also have uh, a team of foot soldiers, not LDU, but foot soldiers who go out and do mystery shopping. So they'll walk into these outlets and just confirm to us whether or not, where we have had a suspicion of a surcharge being imposed, they'll go in and see have a feel of the whole experience of shopping in this outlet. So these people have had a set budget put aside by Absa Bank to enable this to happen. So there is things that we're always thinking about of how to ensure that, because this is not something that you pick up as soon as you walk into an outlet, a merchant outlet. Say you walk into a shop and you know that they're surcharging. You can only find out when you check. So yes, alongside UBA, we are on this as well.
Sorry,
Yeah.
still on the same thing so that I get more from you. When you say that you send your merchants and you have the ones who are not LDU and you're sending them and they will come and get the feed, what I'm interested in is what is going to happen. Am I going to get
Your
back my
money.
money? Am I going to make this merchant and tell them fire? Like, I want to know what happens. Do
Or
you
they pay
get
you
that benefit?
interest for the pain.
You know, even in the airtime, I've call.
And for you in particular, you'll call me direct if you have any issues, and I'll arrange a refund from my account. However, um, on a larger scale, what's happening now? Obviously, these are what we call teething issues. So we cannot say that we will be refunding all the customers that come to us and report, but as we go along, the more number of merchants that we pick out, and with partnership with Visa and UBA, there are punitive measures to stop this from happening. So being the Ugandans that we are very stubborn people. It's until you see what has happened to your neighbor that you actually adhere to certain terms and conditions. Because I'll tell you, it's what we're supposed to be indoors at 9 o'clock, but there's still people on the road after that. So until they see that there's people that are being put behind bars for that, or tell you to
Yeah.
park your car and sit in your car till
What are
morning,
you trying
they
to
won't
do?
they
There are
won't
people
follow suit. So
interacting with it. What do you want to do to us, basically? Please stop talking about those things.
you,
Let's
you
go
have a
on to the
We're
sticker.
show.
talking about
Surely you have a
surcharging, is
sticker.
not talking about
You know, we're
taxing.
here enjoying the show. You're suddenly reminding us that
Surely you have
Imagine.
a sticker.
imagine.
Uganda's number one comedian, free to move.
Woo!
Stop.
I know.
Oh
Yeah.
dear. And Arnold is having comebacks after comebacks.
I'm
From what
telling you, we
Arnold
can
has
really.
shared,
Mm.
and also Patricia, I think, and also Kennedy can tell me. I don't know if Anne is like me. I like to have my receipts because I like evidence. So that should I be called upon to say so and so charged me, I've got the evidence. Is this quite important for the your clients to actually remember to keep their receipts, because this can go very far in them reporting?
Yes, and I would like to back up a little bit in our conversation, very lively conversation and very informative one at that.
For
The first
sure.
thing that I would want to say is that I think as we interact more and more with businesses, one of the things that I've come to appreciate is that there's no business out there that that is not optimistic, that once they get to understand what are the benefits of doing things in a certain way. Entrepreneurs that I meet on a day-to-day basis are not the kind of people who would intentionally do some of the things that we're talking about. Maybe they've seen it elsewhere. Maybe they've seen it in practice somewhere else, and they just thought that if that is the way things are done, then I should also do the same. But the more you talk to most of these businesses and you get to educate them on why we do discourage surcharging, majority of them would say, yeah, absolutely, I will stop that. Now I understand, I did not know, right? So I would say that there's a lot of positivity around how entrepreneurs approach how they want to do their business. Once you get them to understand how best to approach certain things, and they are usually very willing to change. I guess that's why they are who they are, trying to run their business in the most efficient manner. Now, on the flip side, of course, any any organization or any society must have certain rules within which people need to operate. Otherwise, you would have anarchy. And one of the side effects of allowing surcharging is because you have no control what that surcharge is going to be, right? Some will say 3%, others will say 5%. Who is not to say, oh, okay, for me it will be 15% or 20 or 50%, right? So the reason, so we cannot let that get out of hand. And I think that is one of the benefits that, say, an enactment like the one that UBA did to abolish surcharging in Uganda is very important. But also from a visa perspective, we have rules, right? So as an organization, we also have rules within which we need all the members that we operate with to operate within. And one of the rules is that actually it is very clearly stated that a merchant shall not add a fee or surcharge a consumer. And if that happens and that consumer is entitled to a refund, what the consumer needs to do is basically what Patricia has just guided us on. You have to make sure that you get in touch with your bank, and your bank is the one that gave you that card that you're using to make a payment. Get in touch with your bank, raise this concern. Once you raise that concern, the bank has mechanisms within which we communicate with each other, and that merchant would have to be called, and we have to explain. And if it is something that occurs way too often with a specific merchant who is just notoriously does not want to change and giving all other businesses a bad name out there, then we would not want them in our network in the first place. So it's something that we take very seriously. But I would like to say that we err more on the side of listening to the business, getting to understand why they do what they do, and either educate them, maybe because they do what they do because they don't understand, or if indeed they have a case, a valid case to raise, then we usually are very flexible to look into it.
Okay. See how they're giving you extra minutes now, even when we don't have enough time for the show. They're here still zooming onto your handsome face. Who is in charge of this thing? Because we need to know who is giving you that much. Who's not right?
Perhaps he's the one in charge.
Perhaps I am the one.
Yeah,
So,
perhaps.
ah,
All right, thank you so much to our guests. We had Patricia Amito, who's the head of communications and corporate affairs, UBA. Perhaps to get your thoughts on this and what people should know. People are watching us from different parts of the country and access, of course, Visa or use Visa cards anywhere. Just what you would like them to know. We'll also get something from Arnold, and then lastly to you, Kennedy.
Thank you so much, Flavia and Anne. Just to take us back, the Central Bank of Uganda last year in August sent out a directive, and that's when the discussion of no surcharging actually started. So in this directive, there was a prohibition of no merchants charge any extra additional cost for payments made by card customer. But also still within there, it was there are times when you want to make a payment using your card, and then there's it that has been placed by the merchants for you can pay if your bill is say 200,000, you can use a card. If it's below, they'll probably tell you something else. So that also was removed from the directive that was issued by the Central Bank of Uganda. So no surcharging at the merchant point, no establishing of or putting up of limits, maximum or minimum transactions for them to be able to accept card payments. And based on this directive, we as an industry, UBA together with the as well as the card scheme, Visa, definitely, a campaign which we launched in July this year. A campaign to educate the public, to educate the merchants, customers about the benefits of by card, why they need no surcharge or attach an additional cost to any payments made by card. And this campaign will go on for the rest of the year. We want to see in payments made by card, working, of course, with the Visa and the member banks. And one of the things I need to say is we are not out to beat merchants. So, cause someone to drop a business because we seem like we are headmasters and headmistresses chasing after students who are not. We want to work with them. As Kennedy said, we want to listen to the merchants. For those especially who are surcharging, and how do we get you off that level where you're surcharging to actually receive payments, having a customer incur an additional cost without us actually having to fight. We want to do that, and we're working very closely with the regulator in this. The member banks already started discussions with as well as customers, and we want the conversation to be continuous. Tell us where you've been surcharged. Don't keep quiet and be frustrated with your card and say, but these people say there's a campaign and I'm being surcharged. No, there are people who can actually listen to you and you can talk to us and we can find a solution. So I want,
life has changed since I started using this card. Don't joke with me. Some even if you want to start for MP, like I just swipe and pay and walk away. People think I have a lot of money. They want me to go and represent me in parliament because of a card. Leave me. I am living on the high end of life.
Which is good and want many people to come to where and is.
Wonder why
So
someone wants to charge me for paying me money,
As an industry, our position is very clear. We will say this is surcharging is expensive. It's an expensive, it's a very unfair business practice, which we see dropped as much as possible. We don't want to hear any customer has been surcharged. We want to see more people start to use their cards to make payments for purchases, or if they enter into a restaurant or they go to the salon for that matter. So that campaign, I would like to tell everyone listening in that please follow the campaign, learn more about the card usage, learn more about where you port when you actually get surcharged. If you want to know how you can become a merchant, it's also an option. You can approach a bank and discuss, how do I get that machine that will now make me more presentable to my customers. Not that they are not, but
Mhm.
yeah, make
Yeah,
customers happier that I can actually use my card when I go to this shop to pay for
mm,
my clothes that I purchase.
you
Yeah.
just picked something out of my mouth. I don't like it when people pick food out of my mouth, because I was about to ask Kwesiga something. Here is in charge of cards and everything cards. The other day I was trying to create some content around card use. So as I ended up being a teacher in my neighborhood at the supermarket,
Mhm.
and I reached and I was there telling them, yeah, these days for me I swipe. So if your card is not working, you have to give me banja. And they asked me questions that I couldn't answer. Someone asked me, what do I need to do to actually get a POS machine? Like, what do I do if I'm to have an account? What should be the minimum balance for me to qualify to get a POS machine? Or do I pay to get the POS machine? And then there's something you stated and said, some people's surcharge depends on what it costs them to use, like they're trying to share the cost with the client. So I just want to know, explain to me. If I have my supermarket, which might not be so big, stored lower floor, then there is like escalator going up, just one floor, small supermarket, and I want my POS machine. You just give me the layman's step by step from the beginning to the end. How do I qualify? And also have people who want to swipe around coming into my supermarket to shop. And
Okay.
that's to you,
So
question.
I almost cut you short there. What we're trying to do at Absa Bank
Already
is
I
turn
thought you can't
turn
trust me that
banking
you're
in its head. So we used to adopt, or we used to sign on merchants who had accounts with us, right? But it was limiting in nature, because what we're trying to do is have an all-inclusive, where everyone can use their cards, where everyone has the facilities to accept these cards. So what we've done is we accept a business to come to us. Yeah, you can come to any of our branches. You can come to the Huntington head office. This is where I sit. So you will speak to me directly. But we've created an environment where even people that don't have accounts with Absa Bank can actually come to us, acquire a point of sale. There is what we call know your customer details that we would ask for, dependent on how big or how small your business is. There'll be some documents that we'll ask for here and there, just to confirm that you are who you say you are. And then, luckily, with our partners Visa, we've structured the costing of each type of business. So, and with your small supermarket, I don't want you to think that you'll be paying as much as, say, a big hotel somewhere else, or a tour and travel company. So, we have segmented each type of business based on the costs that have been shared with Visa. And these are minimal costs. We have also gone over and above what we do in terms of sales to advise you on the best way of having your costs reduced. So I always discourage my merchants from focusing on the cost. It's always about the convenience that you're offering your customers, the fact that you are actually saving money by ensuring that you're going cashless, because we have what, 25 commercial banks, 17 of which are subscribed to Visa. So this is a necessary evil. It's coming whether you like it or not. We're going cashless. So I think it is in your best interest to embrace the convenience that comes with accepting cashless. And yeah, without repeating what my other colleagues have said, I think it is easy. Do not worry about you not having a name, or your business is your surname, Kansime Supermarket. Come, let's talk. It's business.
I'm being attacked today. I'm going to walk away from this show. because it's attacking.
You said you had a supermarket. I was under the impression this was for you.
But I have free currency because I have currency. My backpackers now suddenly everything I own is currency. Forgive me. Man. Anyway, what I
So,
wanted to
and has the
remind,
question been answered?
yes, the question has been answered. But I don't mind if Kennedy maybe just, just adds like a full stop, maybe something that he wanted to add, because I see his lips itching. Kennedy,
Yes.
I think you have something
How
to
do you
add.
see someone's lips
I
itching?
told you, Anani,
that's,
Adding
everywhere
a full
that's a
stop.
new one. Anyway, yes, so since it's an opportunity for for winding up remarks, it is an opportunity as well for me to speak to not just our businesses but all our stakeholders, and starting with our esteemed customers. Um, this anti-surcharging campaign is all because Visa is a customer-centric organization, and we pride ourselves in giving customers tools that do not cost them anything for them to be able to transact. However, if you choose to go to an ATM, as a lot of people do, and withdraw your cash, you may be charged a fee at the ATM. So, as a customer, I would like you to think what is beneficial to you: to withdraw cash and pay some 5,000 Uganda shillings or whatever the fee is, or shop for free, use your card to make a payment, and you don't get charged. Now, to the merchant or the business that this customer is going to, you play a very critical role in our payments space. As a business, you provide um, the the reason why a customer would have that card in the first place. And so we want to work with you as a business to make sure that you're providing the best service you can provide to this customer, so that this customer can choose you over and over again. As Arnold has mentioned, there is a very simplistic way of getting access to the payment tools that you need in order to attract these consumers. And we have spoken about the benefits of accepting card. So, in my view, I think in my closing remarks, especially to the businesses, I would urge you strongly, for those businesses that are listening to us. I would urge you to strongly look on the more on the benefits side and less on the rules and regulations side. Yes, any society will always have rules and regulations within which everyone needs to operate, but it does not necessarily mean that those rules are bad. In fact, those rules are trying to move you towards uh, better ways of doing things. Think about the number of customers that you need to attract to your business. Think about the convenience that you're offering your business. Think about the opportunities that you get by attracting a customer whose only limit of spending is their bank account balance. When they walk into your shop, the only limiting factor is their bank account balance. It gives you an opportunity as a business to upsell. To if I came to, say, a boutique and I wanted to buy a shirt, um, and I saw a nice tie that I wanted to go with that shirt, and you are selling it to me at a discount, and I saw a blazer or a coat that I want to go with it. I came to the shop to buy a shirt, but then I end up leaving with three items because you've enabled me. You have empowered me as a customer to be able to transact with you. And for sure, any customer, wherever they go and they get the convenience that we're talking about, they are sure to come back. So for the businesses out there, you play a very crucial role in the ecosystem of payments. And obviously, this is not necessarily something that is supposed to be a disadvantage to you, but it's supposed to be actually an advantage. I would just urge you to look at it from that perspective. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kennedy.
There's something I wanted to ask quickly, Flavia.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask still Kennedy. there's earlier I'd said if you have a card that's written on Visa, then you have a Visa card and you can use it to make payments anywhere. But now, if I have a Visa card, can I withdraw money from any ATM bank? As in, can my Visa card work with any ATM bank?
Yes, without getting into complications. I would invite you to think about Visa. Sometimes when you talk to people about Visa, they think it's that travel visa that you use to go to other countries. But the organization that I'm talking about is Visa, the organization that connects multiple financial institutions or banks, in short, banks or financial technology companies, right? So whatever you're getting that card, whether you're getting it from ABSA or for the benefit of Arnold, let me not mention anybody else or anybody else. Let's say whether you're getting it from
Wise
ABSA or
decision. Wise
anyone
decision.
else, it can work with an ABSA ATM. It can work with any other ATM that you see out there. In fact, that same mark that you see on your card, every time you go to an ATM that accepts Visa, you will see that same mark as well that is printed on that ATM machine. So you can use it anywhere. And the point of sale terminal that is given to you by ABSA, whether you're getting that card from a bank that is not ABSA, you can still use it. Or a machine that has been given by another bank and you're coming from ABSA, you can still use it. So we bring that interoperability between the financial institutions so that the customer gets the maximum convenience. You're not forced to go to a specific bank for specific services. Yes, there are some specific services that a bank would offer, but we want to give the consumer as much freedom as possible without any limitations on having access to their funds.
Okay, thank you so much, Kennedy Luhombo there from Visa. He's a senior business development leader for merchant and sales. Thank you so much for your time and being very calm. I think you're the only one who wasn't really teased by our very own Anne.
What do you mean?
No, sorry.
Please don't.
I will leave this
Now,
to you. In fact, the next person to thank, I will give him to you, please. Please.
Okay, was that question? You are again. I'm so happy that we had you here, that we could hear a backbite without them interrupting. You are wonderful that we had
And
you and
Yanasi, thank you very much.
Mazima. And I don't know what has happened to Amiko.
I'm not quite
Yeah,
sure where she's here too.
you're the one who mentioned the word witchcraft in the beginning. I
Yeah,
think
you are.
something
My
happened.
God. I swear, I'm cheating.
Because I don't understand what happened.
I don't know. Anyway, if you're
Let's let
watching,
it go.
then follow us on Visa on our Visa Uganda Facebook page, and you can follow me or Flavia on her platforms, and you get to watch and follow this show. And we thank you so much for the comments, because your comments are the ones that brought us to this topic of surcharge. You commented and said, no, we are being charged. Then we said we have to address it. Thank you so much for being with us. Flavia, it is always bombastic working these places with you.
Oh my God, thank you.
Stop smiling, please. I don't know what you're up to. Guys, thank you so much for being
Thank you.
Aye.